Hello everyone, it is Christine here and I've got a fun little craft that would be a lovely little card or gift for a friend. Valentine's Day is coming up, so if you're not into the commercial side but would still like to make something either for a loved one or a friend, you could definitely do this idea, but it would be good any time of year. So it's going to be a little felt based, but then with whatever fabric or scrappy fabric you want to use. That's going to be a little fold out heart that says life is better with you on it. If I can keep it in frame, it will be even better. And so we'll be using either a piece of yarn or a little split pin. I'll probably try the yarn version first to make it able to come round and to move and open out. And then it's going to have a little hanger on it, which I've already left some thread there to use for the hanger, and it can just hang up, and either can hang up in its sort of folded form or ideally opened out with you written on it. So I've already made one of the hearts because I wanted you to be able to see that at the start of the video, but also I didn't want the video to be tedious, and I'll be showing you the exact same process on this one. Now the fabric I am using is this gorgeous, let me just move these out of the way for a moment, this gorgeous linen tea towel. It is so well used and well loved that the label has totally lost its writing. It's got holes in it and I've cut into it on previous projects. It's a beautiful tea towel from my nana and from my grandpa, and they are the two people that really inspire selfless love for each other and dedicated love through to the very end, through to when grandpa passed away. And yeah, they're my inspirations for how to live life in a more general sense, but definitely how to live and love, and also just show love and care to the community. So I thought if I'm going to be making something with hearts, I would love to use this. I've already used some of it in my Anne Brooks handmade Anne flags in a previous year, but I thought this would be a really nice little little thing for Valentine's Day, just to hang up in our house and keep probably hanging in our living room. So I used a section of it over here for this one, and I think I'll use maybe this blue flower over here for this one. So what I'll want to do, I might even actually do it this way first. I might use my trusty little bit of Yoo-hoo glue just to get it sitting on where I want it to be so it doesn't move around. You could use a pin. I always end up stabbing myself with pins, so I generally avoid using pins. The Yoo-hoo will just hold it enough while I get it sort of cut out. So, and then that way I don't waste too much either. I'm going to leave a little border around it. It might move a little bit as we cut it. Sorry, I'll stay on camera as I cut around it. I've left my camera quite close today, but hopefully I won't go off camera too much. Now you could make this a very scrappy one using lots of tiny scraps and collaging them onto your heart, so that's another option. But if you have a lovely fabric that you want to use, you can definitely do it this way. If you're using little scraps, you'd just be putting them on, laying them down. You could use your Yoo-hoo glue or fabric glue to just hold them in place temporarily, and then you can do a whole lot of stitching over. But because we're also doing the writing on our heart, I didn't want to have too much competing with that. So there we go, that's nice. I think that will look good as it folds out. You can tell they kind of go together, but they've got two different little shapes on them. I'll move this one out of the way. And then I can decide, I might use a different colour just so it contrasts. So I used this vintage Semco art silk. I don't know when it's from, but it's from back when Black Rock in Victoria, in the state where I am, when that would have been a manufacturing area. Now it's all just very expensive houses. So let's have a little peel what we've got in here. I've got this nice bluey green. I was also using one in the car today on my Colour Inspirations piece. Or I could use a nice variegated. Maybe we'll give that one a go. It's got some purples, different purple though. This would be a wonder fill, yeah. Could be using my own variegated as well, but just happened to grab these ones out, so we'll take those for a spin. And so we're going to be starting by doing a blanket stitch around. So look which needle I want to use. And then after that we will do the writing, and then I'll show you how I then affix this little lace piece and how I select a good fabric to use for the back. And then we'll put the thread in to act as the little sort of rotating point on it, and we'll finish the holding piece. Hopefully, yeah, that does thread. It was just that it was a bit of a raggedy end on it. So I hope you're having a great day, a great evening. Hope this isn't just a nice little simple project. You can put whatever writing you want on it. I just thought the life is better with you would be a nice little phrase. Now here, if you want to hide your end, you can pop through sort of part way down into your felt, and then hide your end between the two layers of fabric. And I can even trim my end a bit before I hide it. I don't need to leave that much of a tail on it. And then I can just sit it down there. And then we're going to start doing the blanket stitch. So let me just put one stitch through from the back and hopefully not get a tangle on the very first go. How can that be, Christine? Okay. Oops. Goodness. Okay, we're going to get there. It's all going to go a bit easier than that. Right. So for blanket stitch, I'm going to head over. And so we're just basically putting our needle in part way in from the edge, winding our thread around the needle so that it forms a loop. And then we're pulling through, and that gives us our nice little stitch, and you'll get to see it a bit more once we've got a few more in. So putting my needle through, you can either go from top to bottom or bottom to top, just pick which direction you're going to go and do that. I just do it this way so I can see exactly where the stitch is going to be on the top surface, which will be the viewed surface. So looping around, pulling through. Same stitch we were using on our little fabric bookmarks, corner bookmarks in a video a few days ago. So if you've done those and followed that technique, then you'll have the technique down pat. Some people struggle. I know when I used to do blanket stitch, I'd always struggle how to start it off, but now it's kind of muscle memory. I probably did say that the other day too. Sometimes forget what I've said in videos. I actually had about 3 misstarts to this video. Something fell down off my little craft caddy above me, on top of me, and then I stumbled over my words. So all is okay though. The joys of making videos. Oops. See, that time I didn't actually properly catch my thread, but I can just pass my thread back up through it and get the loop. Going to have fun doing some more variegated thread dyeing, I think, for the Colour Inspirations project that is being hosted by Annie Claxton. I've got my lovely mood board to work on, and this week we're going to be working with all sorts of different colours. So my main colour is my blue with sort of whites and creams, and then Annie shared a whole lot of different versions of colour schemes and some online tools that we can use to kind of pick out our colours. So I'm thinking, like Annie, and Annie's going to be doing the same, I think, is dyeing some or colouring up some threads using Inktense, as I shared in another video. Such a fun process and such lovely threads that you get. It's kind of good, because I used to always kind of try and save all these purchased variegated threads. I didn't want to sort of use too many of them, but now that I can make my own, I feel like I can be nice and free with them. So when I go around the corner with the blanket stitch, I just like to usually put a little extra little sort of holding stitch in if I feel it needs it. So I'll put one in on this side of the corner, and then I think I'll just pop up and put another little stitch in, just where you've sort of got a pointy bit, just to make sure it sort of all sits right. Just put a little whippy stitch in there. And then from that point I can just start doing the blanket stitch again. Hopefully the air conditioner sound's not creating problems. It's too warm today not to have the aircon on. I'm going to have a string of hot days, so I imagine the aircon will be staying on upstairs for a lot of the time. We have solar power, solar panels here, so at least we're drawing the sun's power to help power the aircon. But yeah, I don't think we get a break in the hot weather until maybe Tuesday evening, I think so. Sunday now when I'm filming this. I should be able to get this loaded up for tonight. Which will be Sunday morning for some of you when I load something at night, or Sunday sort of midday for those in the UK or US, depending what time it goes. It's hard to know where everyone's sort of time preferences are for when videos go up, so I mix it up a little bit, but usually evening time, late evening time here, or early hours of the morning, in which case I just schedule it to go live. And then wake up to see people's lovely comments and queries and ideas. It's just so lovely. I do love the connecting part, because otherwise I'd just be doing this and thinking, I wonder if anyone would ever be interested, and at least the video process, sharing it out there, you get to find kindred spirits, and then people take the idea and do their own thing. So as I say, put whatever sort of writing on this that you want, or if you don't want to do writing, you could just do some cute little decorative hearts. You could even do these just as solo little hearts as well, would be absolutely fine. It's just an idea. And for cutting out the heart, I just fold over the felt and then cut it out. So oops, I forgot to do the stitch there, but I can catch it there, and then fold it so that it's an even heart. Or you could draw a heart on paper and then draw it onto your felt, whichever's easiest. So I was doing the blanket stitches where you just catch it with your needle. And then I think I'll do one more to get round to the edge. Okay, that's nice. We've got that nice variegation of the stitches. So I can take that over to here and I'll just tie it off, and we'll be putting a covering on the back, so I'm not too fussed about making it super neat. I mean, you don't have to do a backing piece if you don't want to. I'm just going to give you an option if that's something that you would like. I'll just get rid of that little fray end. Yeah, just love how soft and beautiful this vintage tea towel is, and it will be lovely to have that. So the next bit then is I'm just thinking, will I, as long as I know where it's going to pivot from, I was just wondering whether I should actually do that pivoting first and then do the stitching. Might just be a bit more cumbersome though, but it might be slightly better. So yeah, let's give that a go. I'm going to use this thicker crochet yarn, I think, to do the little bobble. And I was toying with using one of my little Ort ball beads as well, but I don't know if it needs it, so we might just do a little French knot instead, I think. So now, yeah, I think we can. I was just wondering whether we should do it once we've got the other backing piece on. I think it'll be okay actually, because I'll be stitching that down, so, and at least this way the end will be hidden. If you actually tie a knot for the end, Christine, that would be even better to start off. And we do want to make sure we've got a good securing knot. And I'll probably even put an extra little stitch or two here at the back just to make sure that we are well and truly anchored. Okay. Yeah, I think that's still going to work okay. I was just thinking about the sequence and also doing the backing piece on the other one. But I think that will be right. And so then we are going to come through to the front. And we'll do a French knot, I think, or will we grab out our aught beads? I still kind of like the idea, and see if we've got a nice little small one that might go. Even got a glitzy glammy one here. No. I could always make my own in the colour scheme I want. That's not really the colour scheme. So I think I will do a little French knot and just take it back into just this layer here. So I'm just taking it into the front. Oops. Hopefully I don't make a messy French knot. No, that's all right. That is there. And then, yeah, that's probably not quite tight enough actually. I might need to go back to the original theory. Let's see. I was wondering if I would need to use my little split pin. I was thinking thread would work, but maybe that French knot just wasn't tight enough, had a bit too much looseness. So we might actually try it, just try it again with the thread. It'd be nice to give you a thread option where you don't need to use the split pin. Keep the split pin option there if we need it. So let's just anchor this one at the back. Oops, lots of taily bits of thread, and then come through here, and then come through now. We want this to be nice and tight but still have the pivot in it. So yes, I think I'll probably need to do it just as a nice tight knot rather than a French knot per se. I'm just tying it nice and tight and flush against the fabric, because I want it when it's hanging up. Yep, that's going to work. It's not going to flop out too much. That will be fine, because it'll be hanging against a wall or a surface or something. So no, that will be great. And then it's just going to be a question whether I want to. I can always just feed this back into the back of here, like I did before, but. Just not using the French knot because that got a bit loose, probably by the way I was doing it. You can always fiddle around yourselves. So I'll just now tie it off down here, and hopefully it will still pivot. We just don't want to sort of restrict the movement through the process of like going right through to the back again. There we go, perfect. Yep, acts as a little split pin without actually needing a split pin. Good to use a nice sort of sturdy thread. Okay, so now we can do our with you bit of the process. So you just sort of have to work out where you want to have the writing. I'm just using my friction marker. You do need to be careful on sort of darker fabrics. It might show through, but I'm hoping I can just write it and then stitch on it and not have to erase it. So I think I'll do my width here. And again, I don't need it to come all the way through. I just need enough that I can see where I'm with, and then U. And I think I'll be able to do the U once I've got the width in place. So I'll use my blue thread again, I think, unless I want something contrasting. Could use the blue. Could use this one. This one is good though in that you can actually see it on the surface, so I might use that just for consistency's sake. Now I've got quite a few pin needles out on my table. Which one am I actually wanting to use? There we go. Okay. So I have my little W. I can see it. I'm not sure whether you can see where I drew with the friction marker. Should just go up one stitch. And as I say, don't worry here what the stitches look like on the back of the heart, because we're going to be putting a little backing on. But even if you didn't put a backing, I mean, it'd be still fine anyway. Sometimes it's nice to see the back sides of stitched pieces. Tells you that they're handmade, not machine made. You hear Travis downstairs playing with his squeaky toy. It's a hot day, so we've just got the aircon on downstairs for him so he can rest and stay cool. Being a black Labrador, he doesn't do well with the heat. I'll just get rid of the lid over there. And so I'm just doing a little, I guess you'd call them back stitches. It's my version of back stitch, where I sort of go forward and then come back and then go forward from where the other stitch was. I've got a video on back stitch in my stitch along if you haven't seen my version versus the other version that most people do. I just find this version gives you a flatter back. So I just did a French knot there for the top of the eye, and then I'm just coming across to the H. So with this I'm going forward a stitch, and then I'm going to go a bit further down and come back to where that last stitch was. So this is my version of back stitch. Well, that was a bit of a, I think my first stitch was a bit crooked actually, so I'm just going to get that slightly less crooked. Not that it matters too much, but it was fairly crooked where I placed it. See if we can do. So I'm going forwards, and then I'm going to go a bit down below where that stitch was, and then come back to where the stitch is, and then I can go forward again from the bottom of that stitch, and then I'm going to go out from it a bit and come back to make the little bottom of the T. So it's always sort of like a forward and then take a step ahead and then come back to it, and then that way yeah, you're getting that back stitch look, but without having it be so bumpy on the back. And it's so exciting to see that Annie Claxton is going to be following along with the stitch along, the Dictionary of Stitches, and using her amazing threads, vintage threads from Miss Cheetham, who she researched the family history of. She got these incredible vintage threads off, I think just off eBay originally. I think she joked that she was having a gin and tonic and got carried away with some online shopping, but wow, what a find. And she found the most amazing things in the bundle of threads as well. I say amazing because I just love all those little bits of haberdashery history. And even where people have just, saved little bits of brown paper and things, it's just incredible. So yeah, check out Arty Farty Annie Claxton, for that video about Miss Cheatham's threads as well. It is fascinating. Okay, so that's that, and then I can come over and I think I'll do can't see where started to write it out, so I think I'll just work backwards maybe from over here. So I'll do the U of you. And there's something nice about free-handed writing, free sort of stitched. It just has a nice organic look to it. And if it does go sort of a bit too quirky for you, you can just undo where you got up to. If you kind of assess it as you go along, then you hopefully by the end will be happy with how it's looking. But yeah, if you're a bit less confident, it might be easier to sort of mark it on first of all with like a friction marker or a chalk pen or one of those erasable pens, the ones that sort of erase with time. I don't have any of those ones. I think I've got some old Taylor's chalk that I got in a bundle of haberdashery supplies I picked up off someone's nature strip. So I should give that a go. I know lots of people issue warnings about friction markers, but yeah, the only problem I found with them is on darker coloured fabrics. They can leave a bit of almost a bleached out line because there must be chemicals in them that cause some sort of reaction. But I know people in cold climes, can have the friction marker effects come back on their work. But then all you'd have to do is apply heat and they'd disappear again until it was cold again. If it was in a room that was permanently cold, then I can definitely see that could be a challenge. At the moment, our challenge is heat. It is, very, very hot. But the good thing is the washing on the line has been drying so fast. In fact, we'd forgotten to wash something from the dog beach where we took Travis this morning, and so I've just popped that in, and I'm sure by the time I go out, the sheets and the other 2 loads will be fully dry. I think the first load was almost dry by the time I took the second load out, but I've just left it there to have a extra bit of sunshine, lovely smell imparted in it. Nothing better than sunshine dried sheets to sleep in, so I'll be changing the sheets on the bed and enjoying that tonight too. It's always a bit of a treat. I don't know if I've gone a bit floopy. That's probably a tiny bit too low on my Y, but I think I'll be able to... Oops, and I've come up, I think, in a weird spot. Probably actually come down to the bottom of the Y because I don't need to overlap my stitches there. As long as people know what the letters are, I think that's the main thing. Yeah, that's nice with you, even though I think, I probably did go a little bit low on the Y, but that bit of the Y, but maybe... No, I don't think I'll try and fix it. I think I'll just leave it with it slightly kooky Y, unless maybe I can actually put a stitch up there. Can I kind of even catch this one up a little bit so that it's sitting up there a bit more? I'm just hooking it with my thread and yanking the thread up, which I think will work okay actually. And then I'll anchor it there if I can. And then I might put one stitch here just so that it's kind of a bit more even at the bottom of the Y. I think that has actually worked. Yeah, much happier with that Y now. So just that little bit of amending So we'll now tie this off on the back, and then we'll do the back covering piece, and then we can finish off doing the hanger after that. So for the back covering, I'm using this old crochet lacy type piece. Crochets and laces are good because when you cut them with a raw edge, they don't really fray too much more. Depends which ones you've got, but generally they'll be pretty good. So that's why I'm using this one. And I'm just wondering, where do I want to cut it from? I might cut it so that I've got this one here. So I'll just start by cutting off a bit of it. Probably would have been better to cut this bit before I stitched the two pieces together. So that's just a little tip if you're doing the activity. But I think it will still be fine. I can probably, if my marker pen will work, or otherwise I might just have to freehand it a little bit. I mean, I could always take them apart at this point if it really was a problem, but I think I'll be able to make it work. So that'll be the top part of it done. Done-ish. Then let's see if I've totally mangled it. I can always do the taking apart. But otherwise, I think, yeah, I'll just need to trim it down a bit once I've probably stitched it. Probably do a little bit of trimming now. And then I'm just going to use my blue thread again and just do a stitch where I just pick up the lace and just the layer of felt, but don't go through to the front. Although you could if you wanted to, but because I've got the writing there, I don't want the blue thread to come through to there. So I'm just going to use the blue. And this is just a number 8. I think it's a Finca Perle. All vintage, so I don't always know whether the exact products are sold in that form anymore, but I'm pretty sure Finca's still a used brand. And so again, I will creep my end into the felt, so I'm just taking a stitch just through the felt but not coming through to the front, with a knot in the end of my thread, and then I'll just pop up here without catching onto the side. And then I'm just going to do like a running stitch, but I'm keeping my finger at the back and making sure that I'm not coming through to the front, if that makes sense. Oops, don't want to pull it quite so tight. And again, popping in and then popping out. So I'm just picking up the felt itself and the crochet with my needle, but not going through to the front, and then just jumping forward. So just a running stitch, or when you do it sort of en masse, a cantha stitch, but just a running stitch for around the outside. And this will just hold that backing piece in place. It will hide where we've got the blue thread coming through for the writing. And it will just give it a nice little interesting decorative back as well. So if it was hanging like where there's light from a window, for example, yeah, you'd have a nice view from outside looking at the back of the hearts as well. And you can be really precise with the size of them, or you can just be like me and just, yeah, it's really just doing a running stitch around. And it just adds an extra little decorative as well. It almost looks like you've woven the thread through the lace. And once it's done, we can just neaten up any of the edges. The crochet has split slightly there, so I'll just use a stitch to just sort of anchor that a smidge. Just come back and put a stitch in there. There we go, and I can, while we're here, just neaten up this edge now. Anywhere where it's got an extra little bit of lace, because we don't really want the lace to show through to the front. In fact, you can probably cut from the front most safely without risking cutting your stitches. So I'm just trimming off the excess little bits of lace there. That's pretty good, I think. So we can then just put a little stitch in here, put a knot in on the surface, and then we can just secrete our thread back into the felt. And what I'll do is pull my thread, so try not to pull your thread out of your needle. I was actually hoping to take it the other way through. I have to take it out to rethread, won't I? So what I'll do is I'm pushing it just down so it's kind of going into the inside of the felt but not coming through to the front. I'm then going to pull my thread so that it's sort of pretty much up against near where the needle is, and then I'm going to bring my needle in, and that will take the end of the thread down into the felt and hide the thread end. And then we're going to have our little heart like that. And in fact, it's probably coming down a smidge longer. I'm just wondering, should I put a little piece of ribbon so that it can kind of only come round to maybe this point? So if I did that, I wonder if I want it to come, so if it's hanging up, yeah, because I guess the thread that's joining them isn't sort of really going to hold it in the way that one of the little pincer pins will. So I'm wondering, do I just put a little piece of a ribbon or something, or a little piece of thread even? Let's troubleshoot this ourselves. I'm sure we can get this. So if that's the furthest I want it to go, then if I put a little stitch in, and again I might be able to secrete it from underneath so we don't get the end. First we'll have to tie a knot in the end here. So I'm not someone that always makes the prototype first. I work it out with you as I go, because yeah, why make two when you just want to make one? Why not just share the creative adventure? It's very much crafting with me rather than me kind of delivering a pre-crafted project. So if I put it over to there, then it's still going to be able to come up and sit behind, and then it's able to come across. So that's what I want to do, because the problem would be if I just did it a short distance, then it's not going to be able to make its way all the way over. So where's the sort of furthest extension that I want with it? Quite like the two hearts being relatively separate. I mean, they're still overlapping, but still. And so I think if I do a little stitch over here and then pull it round to the point that I'm happy with where it is, keep the hanger out of the way. Lots of moving parts with this. And then I should be able to just do an extra little little stitch here. And let's just make sure still it comes back quite happily. Yep. And that can just sort of sit in there. I don't think that will be a problem, having that little bit. And then it can come out and hang around. Oh, I think that's very cute. I really do. I think it's lovely. Yeah, I think that's cute. So we will secrete this end into here. That's a good little save. Oops. Yeah, I imagine if you use the split pin that would maybe have a bit more structure, so you wouldn't need to do this, but yeah, it's nice just to do it all with fabric, because not everyone has split pins in their stash. If you're a journal maker, you probably do, so you can always have a play with that option. I mean, you could do this in paper as well if you didn't want to do a fabric one, but there's something nice about slow stitch. Yeah, I think that's sweet. Very, very sweet. Okay, now we just need to put our little hanger on. So you can do it whatever length you want. I'll probably have this, I think, hanging on a little hook in our kitchen. Oops. Just managed to mangle the end. Luckily I left a nice long end on it. So I'll just put a little loop in. Try and straighten it out a bit if I can. Oh, there's a bit of wear in that bit of thread there as well. It's like this bit of thread has come. I might actually need to put a new hanger on. I think this bit seems to have become a bit worn there, so I might do that. I'll just stitch this end under. Maybe I accidentally nipped it in the process of cutting around, who knows. Don't think it was like that before. So again, I'll secrete this little end into the fabric. Sometimes it doesn't want to. There we go. It's actually too long. Always the way. Always a bit of a challenge in the craft room, but that's okay. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, I'll get myself a new bit, and maybe I'll use even this one. If that other one's a bit frayed, then this might be a better piece to use. So again, we'll just pop through. Oops, put a knot in first, Christine. Pop through there. Just putting an anchoring stitch in, and then I think I can just do the hooky bit, the loopy bit just here, perhaps just a bit like that. That should be enough of a loop, I think. And then just securely anchor that with a knot or two at the back as well. And then we'll secrete the end back into the piece as well. There we go. Okay, and pull the end in. And there we go. That is a sweet, bit hard to sort of show you how it hangs, but there you go. And the sun's shining through the window. I'm going to have to close the blinds soon. But yeah, a fun little hanging decoration that just comes out and has a lovely little message. Life is better with you. So, and I just love that it's, yeah, Nana and Grandpa's tea towel, so a little bit of that in our lives, and a lovely sweet little passion there, and a beautiful little passion on the back as well. Almost, you could almost do a little arrow on this and it'd be like a little Cupid's arrow. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that little activity. Bye everyone, take care.